Thank you, Secretary Norton. And now I'd like to introduce former Governor of North Dakota and Secretary of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Ed Schafer.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you all for joining us here today. I hope that you have a chance to have breakfast. We have rolls and coffee and juices and water and everything over there. Feel free to get up and have some food, leave, talk to your neighbor, chuckle, clink your glasses. You know, as a former governor, I'm used to addressing the legislature. But anyway, we are pleased to have you here today. This is from the book Ranch Life and Hunting Trail. My home ranch lies on both sides of the Little Missouri, the nearest ranchman above me being about 12 and the nearest below me about 10 miles distant. The general course of the stream here is northerly, but while flowing through my ranch, it takes a great westerly reach of some 3 miles, walled in, as always, between chains of steep, high bluffs half a mile or more apart. The stream twists down through the valley in long sweeps, leaving oval wooded bottoms first on one side and then the other, and in an open glade among the thick-growing timber stands the long, low house of hewn logs. From the long veranda, shaded by leafy cottonwoods, one looks across sandbars and shallows to a strip of meadowland behind which rises a line of sheer cliffs and grassy patterns. This veranda is a pleasant place in the summer evenings when a cool breeze stirs along the river and blows in the faces of tired men who loll back on their rocking chairs, for what true American does not enjoy a rocking chair, book in hand, though they do not often read the books, but rock gently to and fro, gazing sleepily out at the weird-looking buttes opposite until their sharp outlines grow indistinct and purple in the glow of the sunset. These are the words written by Theodore Roosevelt during his time in Dakota Territory, the time of his growing realization of the ideals of conservation and preservation. It was later, however, during his time as governor of New York, when that vision of those bluffs and the water came to be. In New York, when he was dealing with a society of concrete and steel and wealth generated by trading futures of Dutch tulip bulbs or something, he came to understand the foundational strengths of the land and the soil and the natural resources. He was worried about the character of Americans. He thought that the character and values that are instilled in people, the moral courage and justice and the hard work ethic and the self-sufficiency that comes in the end from working of the soil. TR sensed that the frontier produced the American character and started thinking about the responsibilities of preserving the productive capacity of our lands. He had started the Boone and Crockett Club. Boone and Crockett Club is represented today on the council by Lowell Bear. I think Lowell is going to be here today. I don't see him. But, he understood that promoting good stewardship of the land was important. And to promote good stewardship and understanding of how government and citizens interact, Roosevelt felt the only way to ensure that would be to create voluntary organizations that would see to that good stewardship. Theodore Roosevelt was elected to presidency of the United States and became known, among many things, as the conservation president. It was his vision as president that jump-started the conservation and preservation movement in this country. And as we gather here today, we continue on with that effort to develop public policy that promotes the same ideals as TR did long ago. I come from western North Dakota, and I have the privilege of being able to absorb the beauty and the strength that Roosevelt experienced as I walk on the very same lands and see the same views that he did so long ago. It was my time as governor of the state of North Dakota that I started to understand how public policy can be used to nudge along the same ideals and to help us conserve the foundations of our country. I remember well when I was chair of Western Governors Association. It's a group of 18 states that just goes right from the center of the country west. Very involved in natural resource issues. We were shepherding the Grand Canyon visibility study. I was shocked when a regional EPA administrator came in and was promoting the idea that North Dakota should clean up our air better. I pointed out that North Dakota was the first state to meet the clean air standards, the federal clean air standards, and that was amidst mining and farming and coal-fired power plants. But she couldn't disagree with that. However, her theory was if North Dakota were to super clean the air, that it would blow down through the central corridor and help clean up the air and the visibility in the Grand Canyon. We had quite a conversation about that, but it was really then that I understood that if we're going to be serious about the environment, about conservation, about preserving the productive capacity of our land and our natural resources, that you can't be sitting in a cubicle in Washington, D.C. You can't be in the office in the Capitol in Bismarck, North Dakota. You have to be on the land and among the people who are there, who are producing and energizing and using that land. Be close to those who work the soil and who recover our natural resources for the benefit of our economy and our citizens, and who work on issues that are sustainable and affordable. One-size-fits-all top-down government conservation programs just are not going to work. And if we really want to do something about the environment, we have to seek solutions that are broad-based, acceptable, and work to gain the public will and the public support to put them in place. And that is what led us here today. With the understanding of the strength in our natural resources, Gail and I were able to come together with the perspectives of the Department of Interior and the Department of the United States Department of Agriculture, agency departments that are responsible for the overseeing of the development and the use and the strong capacities of the beautiful foundations in our country. The Conservation Leadership Council has been hard at work to develop conservative input to public policy. We have been having conversations about voluntary, marketplace, and incentivized programs that can actually make a difference. And we seek your conversation today on those issues. As we have put the council together and worked over this last year, it really has become an issue as your state, your community, your organization need the flexibility in finding solutions that are based on local conditions and local issues and needs. And we believe that generating and supporting local solutions are what is going to help that develop the broad-based public support much faster than you can from the top-down approach with rigid rules and tough programs. Mayor Ron Littlefield of Chattanooga, Tennessee, said in one of our CLC roundtables in Augusta, Georgia, that it's important that different regions learn and even borrow workable solutions from each other. We can be a clearinghouse of good ideas and share solutions that have worked in other parts of the country. This helps avoid past mistakes, but it also provides solid evidence that there is a solution that can work and you can take to your councils and legislatures and voters, because it's important that these workable solutions get put on the table. We heard over and over and over again how in our roundtables and in our scholarly papers, the need to find the right balance between business and government. We created the Conservation Leadership Partnership to evaluate and explore alternative and entrepreneurial-based solutions that can entice everybody, conservatives, liberals, Rastafarians, whoever, whoever can be here, but the shared goal of conserving our environment. At the Hilton Head Roundtable, we heard firsthand from Virginia Secretary of Natural Resources, Doug Domenech, about how the challenges that state fish and wildlife agencies are having today trying to manage public lands with dwindling public funding and rigid federal rules, and how he's searching in his state and looking for ideas like the ones that the CLC is promoting. We're helping explore those solutions. As Secretary Norton mentioned, one of the papers in your book is Parks 2.0. Authors Leonard Gilroy, Harris Kenny, and Julian Morris at the Reason Foundation have explored the use of private-public partnerships to compensate for budget shortfalls. In thinking about the governor's approach to, or a governor's viewpoint and state's issues on conservation, I go back to one of my predecessors in North Dakota, Governor Art Link. During his time in office, he grappled with the expansion of coal mining and electrical generation during that time when that was being explored and developed. And North Dakota today is a huge generator of electricity for many, many regional states. But he understood the economic value, the jobs and the salaries and the taxes that are generated by this sector of the economy. And he wanted to make sure to promote it and take advantage of it for North Dakota. But he understood that if we are going to protect our environment and preserve our strengths, we had to do it from home. He said, I am unwilling to sacrifice our area to benefit the televisions and air conditioners of the east and west coasts. He talked about when the landscape is quiet again, how he wanted it to be in the future. And now, as we're here, we must dedicate ourselves to the work of developing policies and programs that are workable, affordable, that are sustainable, so that we too can be involved and our input can be involved in developing public policies that preserve and protect our wonderful land and natural resources. It's your experiences and your knowledge and your observations that we're looking for today, and we look forward to your input. We know that you will help craft good public policy that will help keep our natural resources and land the way that we want them to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Schafer. And Secretary mentioned Doug Domenech, the Secretary of Natural Resources for the state of Virginia, and I saw a little hand go up in the way back corner. So, Doug, thank you for being here. Delighted to see you. I am delighted to join Secretary Norton and Secretary Schafer and members of the Conservation Leadership Council here today. Before we engage in our open discussion, I'm going to give a few additional remarks to provide some details of the papers and a little bit more flavor of what the Council is all about. In the headlines, environmental issues are barely a blip on the screen of political and policy dialogues amid the furor over the fiscal cliff. And for many conservatives, environmental issues often meet with resistance and